Therefore, we request you to watch this incident till the very end. The story begins on a cold morning. The rays of the sun had not yet properly touched the earth. The city's most strict female police officer, Barsha Irathor, receives a serious report. She is informed that in a distant village a young man has murdered his own mother Asun. As Barsha hears this on the radio, she gets into her jeep and heads towards the scene. It was her first year in police service, but through her courage and decision-making skills she had earned the respect of the entire station. She was known as fearless, just and strictly disciplined towards the rules. When she reaches the village, the scene there was horrifying. A middle-aged woman lay on the ground with deep injuries on her body. Standing next to her was a young man around 21 to 22 years old who was still holding a heavy wooden stick in his hand. Barsha, in a firm voice, said, "Put the stick down and quietly come with us." The young man, without any protest, dropped the stick to the ground and stood silently with his head lowered. Barsha handcuffed him and took him to the station. The young man's name was Nihal Verma. There was no fear or remorse in his eyes, as if what was meant to happen had already happened at the station. He was kept in lockup for several hours. Barsha waited for the forensic report and confirmation of the local investigation. Nihal was not silent. He did not give any justification in his favor, nor did he ask any questions. After some time, an order came that the accused be presented in court. After observing the preliminary evidence, the judge declared Nihal guilty and sentenced him to death. However, under Indian law, before the date of execution, a period of 2 months is given. This time is allotted for appeal and last wish procedures, whether you are Hindu or Muslim. Please watch the video till the very end without skipping. Friends, before starting the video, let us say a short prayer. O Allah, protect us from sins and grant us paradise. Everyone write Ameen in the comments and give a like to this video. And those who haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel right now. The like target of this video is 10,000. So please give a like to this video. So let's begin. Hall was brought back to the Sama station where Bara was posted. He was kept in a separate cell where there was no CCTV, only a small window was there from which a little light used to come in. A few days later, a woman came to the station, crying, and said that someone had broken into her house and stolen all her savings. Barsha immediately sent her team and told them to thoroughly search the house. She herself stayed at the station because it was not possible to leave Nihal alone a while. Later, when she went to Nihal, she saw he was staring at the window with a fixed gaze. Barsha slowly asked, "Did this verdict not cause you any pain? Your mother is no longer in this world, and you didn't even mention any reason for her murder." Nihal smiled faintly and looked at her. There was no hatred on his face, no mockery, rather there was a strange calmness. Barsha composed herself and ended the conversation right there. Just then she received a phone call. The theft complaint was false, and the money had actually been withdrawn by the woman herself through Herson. The matter was resolved there, and Barsha returned to Nihal again. This time, she brought him a cup of tea, handing the cup to him. She said, "You have 2 months' time. If you have any last wish, you can tell us. According to government rules, a prisoner's last wish is fulfilled before execution." Nihal picked up the cup, took a deep breath, and said, "My last wish is that as long as I live, every night I want to spend time with a virgin girl." Barsha's face became stern. For a moment she could have immediately scolded him if she wanted to, but she restrained herself. "This is not a normal wish. We cannot forcibly send any girl to you." Nihal smiled faintly again and said, "Then why not you? You are also unmarried, and the law says the last wish must be fulfilled." A heat spread within Barsha, but she did not express her anger, nor did she give him any reply. She slowly said, "I will think about it," and walked away from there. That night, Bura could not sleep peacefully. Her mind was filled with many questions and doubts. Can a person's last wish go beyond moral limits? Does she have to strike a balance between her duty and humanity? The night was getting deeper, and Nihal's faint smile kept flashing in front of her eyes again and again. The history had now reached a point where every decision could lead to a new path. Friends, welcome to our channel. Friends, before continuing the rest of the video, we have a request for you. No matter where you are watching our videos from, please take a moment to write your name and your location in the comments below. Reading your comments makes us very happy, and please watch this video till the very end, because there's a very big lesson in this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we're going to bring many more amazing stories in the future. So let's return to the history the next morning. Borcha Rathor was sitting at her desk thinking she hadn't been able to sleep the entire night. Nihal's words kept circling in her mind. Why, not you? This line was spinning in her head again and again. On one side was her inner humanity, which was saying that perhaps Nihal really was, alone and helpless, and on the other side was her duty, which was stopping her from fulfilling his wish. She did not inform any of her seniors about this matter, but she had decided that she would get to the bottom of this incident in the following days. Barca spoke to Nihal several times. He always twisted his words, but each time he would say something wise. Sometimes he would speak about his mother, sometimes about the villagers, and sometimes he would say, he accepted this punishment again. At times he would say, my mother comes in my dreams every night. One night Bara was alone at the station. The other police officers had gone out for a major operation. The sound of the rain could be heard, and the flashes of lightning were breaking the silence spread over the station courtyard. Barsha went near Nihal's cell. She felt that perhaps he would say something new today. She stood silently, for a moment staring at him. He was lying down with his eyes closed, but his face looked calm. Do you remember your mother? Barsha slowly asked Nihal without opening his eyes. Said every day, but now nothing matters. Did you really? Barsha left the sentence unfinished. Nihal opened his eyes and looked at her and said, no, but even if I say it, what's the point? No one will listen. Everyone has already assumed that I'm guilty. His voice carried no emotion or justification. Rather, there was just a tired layer of reality. Barsha's eyes filled with tears. She asked herself, have I treated this case as just an ordinary case? Have I become a part of that crowd that simply assumes a name to be guilty? But now there was little time left. If Nihal's words were true, then it had to be proven. The next day, Barsha began searching through the court documents. She re-examined the village forensic report, the mother's call log, the medical reports. Everything. Some unclear clues caught her eye. Some things were not adding up. The last call from Nihal's mother's phone was made to an influential person in the village who had previously been caught in illegal land raping cases. Barsha began secret investigation against that person. Meanwhile, Nihal was still holding on to his last wish when he came to Barsha again and asked, don't you want anything else? He replied, no, because I have no more expectations from life, but I have fallen in love with you. I have never seen a woman as honest and fearless. Ashu. Barsha realized that inside Nihal there still remained an innocent boy who'd been turned to stone by circumstances. One night when everything around Wasilent, Barsha crossed her boundaries, took off her uniform, wore a sari, and went to Nihal. There was no lust in here, yes, rather there was trust. She sat beside Nihal, listened to his words, saw him as a human being. There was no force, no compulsion, only the silence between two people and some incomplete emotions. In the morning, for the first time, light was seen in Nihal's eyes. He said, if you believe in my story, then give me a chance to prove my innocence. Barsha held his hand and said, now this is my fight. Barsha now had two paths in front of her: to ignore the statement of an accused like everyone else, and let him face the death penalty for a crime he perhaps didn't commit, or to bring out the truth with all her strength and honesty. Even if for that she had to fight against her own system. Information from the village was slowly coming to light from the secret investigation Barsha had started. It was found that Nihal's mother had filed a complaint against the influential villager Balir Thakur for grabbing government land that evening. Balir Thakur had been seen near Nihal's mother's house. This phone call had seemed suspicious to Barsha. Barsha took this case personally. She informed the DSP that she wanted to conduct a final investigation before the execution. At first she was mocked, but when she filed a strong case and presented it before her senior authorities, she was given 15 days. If within that time she could prove Nihal's innocence, then the case would be reopened. During this time, Nihal became somewhat hopeful, but he remained silent. One day, he told Barsha, even if you can't do it, thank you. Because of you I was able to feel like a human for a few days. Barsha replied, your truth is my test. I will not give up. Barsha went to the village and quietly spoke to many people. Many witnesses were afraid, but an old lady, a neighbor of Nihal's mother, finally spoke. The truth she revealed: that Balir Thakur's men had entered the house at night and murdered Nihal's mother. Nihal had returned home and chased away the attackers with a stick. But by then, his mother had already lost her life. She'd not said this earlier, because Baylor's men had threatened her. Barsha recorded her statement, cross-checked it with the medical report, and collected the mobile location records. All the evidence showed that Nihal was innocent. Barsha applied to the court for investigation. A hearing was held. The witnesses were called. The evidence was presented. Baylor, Thaker, was arrested. The case was discussed in national media. Finally, the court overturned the previous verdict. Nihal was released. When Nihal came out of court, he quietly came to Barsha and said, "You gave me back my life." Barsha replied with a smile. The fight for justice doesn't happen only in the court. It also happens between the mind and the conscience. A few months later, they were often seen together. Barsha made no marriage announcement. Nihal made no statement. But those who saw them found respect and peace in their eyes for each other. The story of a prisoner and an officer, which had started from a strange desire, had now taken the shape of a relationship built in trust, struggle, and honesty. The story does not end. Here it only holds a mirror to a society where not every accused may be guilty. Sometimes the path to justice must pass through human emotions. Well, friends, let's now hear another story. In the city of Baghdad lived a handsome young man whose beauty was admired by all. This boy's father had died in his childhood. The mosque's malvisa betrayed him when he grew up. He began to earn his livelihood. A small parrot was also kept at his house. The young man used to recite the Holy Quran in his house, and the parrot used to come close slowly. The parrot memorized the verses of the Quran, and that parrot would recite them with its tongue. I choosed to speak little by little. The all-fearing young man used to teach that parrot that one must always speak the truth. Allah loves those who speak the truth. Near his house there was a prostitute's residence. That prostitute was very beautiful. One day, the prostitute's uncle told her, "The entire village is mad about your beauty. But there's one young man who has never looked at you. He is a very good, noble person. He comes straight home from the mosque and goes to the mosque straight from home." That prostitute woman started to say, "How is this possible? Even noble men forget their honor and commit sin after seeing my beauty. And this great scholar Hafiz doesn't even look at me." Her maid said, "If you want, try." She said, "All right." Now this prostitute changed her appearance. She dressed like a noble woman and stood in front of the house door so that whenever the boy came, she could call him and lure him with some excuse. Whenever the boy came to pray, he never looked up at her. He lowered. Hafiz went to the mosque and returned home with lowered eyes. Days passed like this, but the boy never looked up at the prostitute. One day, the prostitute intentionally fell to the ground. When the young man saw the woman lying on the ground, he asked everyone, "Who is this woman?" Everyone standing there said, "We do not know this woman," because the prostitute had changed her disguise. The people standing there said, "She seems to be a poor girl from a needy family." The young man said, "Pick her up and take her to my home." Then the people picked up the girl and took her to his house. The woman began to think, "My first goal is achieved now. How I can easily lure this boy, this servant of Allah, and in the silence of night it will be even easier to seduce him." The boy went to the mosque for Aisha prayer. The woman was waiting for him. When he returned, she asked him, "How are you?" The prostitute woman started to pretend weakness and began to show her seductive beauty through her eyes. The prostitute threw various arrows of temptation, but she failed to trap this Allah-fearing young man. She became exhausted and lay down thinking, "An old man would have followed me. I don't know what kind of soil he is made from. He does not understand any of my gestures." The Allah-fearing young man asked her, "Who do you have in this world? Where are your parents? Where is your home?" She said, "I have no one in this entire world." In saying this, she began to cry. When the Allah-fearing young man heard this, he became very sad and said, "You're an unknown woman, and it is not appropriate for you to stay with me." When the poor woman heard this, she began asking, "Where will I go?" The young man said, "You can stay here with me tonight, but in the morning you must leave." Hearing this, she became confused, wondering how she could lead him to sin. Yet she was tired and had failed in every way. In the morning, the Allah-fearing young man consulted Maulana Sahib, saying, "There is a poor woman staying in my house. I am very worried. What should I do?" Maulana Sahib said, "If she truly has no one in this world, then you should marry her. After all, one day or another, you will have to marry." The young man returned and told the woman, "Maulana Sahiba said that I should marry you." Hearing this, she became frightened and began to think, I don't want to marry. I want to have an unlawful relationship with him. I never wanted to be his wife. That foolish woman said to the young man, Give me time to think tonight. I will tell you in the morning. She spent the whole night thinking, what should I do? Then the woman decided, let me lie. After all, I will get this young man, and after I accomplish my goal, I will escape from his house. In the morning, she told the young man, I am ready to marry you. Hearing this, the young man became very happy. Allah has given me the opportunity to help a helpless person, and in this way, a woman's life will also be saved. He called Mana Sahib and completed the marriage. Everyone was very happy at the young man's wedding. He completed the marriage. The young man was a worshipper of Allah Ta'ala. Days passed when the woman's heart became full with the love of Allah. She began to say that now I should leave. From here, how can I stay here now? I want to return to my world, but I am married to that boy and his wife. That poor woman sent a message to her maid. I want to leave from here, make some arrangement. The maid came to her and began to say, now you have become his wife. How will you go from here? Why did you do this? The woman said, I was so mad about his beauty that I wanted to humiliate him in any way because that boy wouldn't even look at me, so what else could I do? I had to marry him forcefully, but now I don't like this. I want to leave from here. The maid told her, then do this and give him divorce. When she began to say, but now I don't like this. I want to leave from here. I won't be able to divorce him because he is a very good man and he will never divorce me. That vile woman began to say, I am not such a noble person. Let me kill him instead. And she began to remember her life in the brothel where every day rich men used to come to me and shower thousands of dinars on me. I don't want to stay with him. She told the servants, bring poison for me so that I can kill him. The servant, hearing this, started to make arrangements for the poison. The servant brought the poison for her. And when the young man came home at night, that vile woman, pretending sweetly, came in front of him and said, I will now bring food for you. When she went to bring the food, she mixed poison into the food. Now, the parrot that was always present in the house was watching all this. It began to scream, save me, save me. The all-fearing young man came to him and said, why are you screaming so much today? Then it said, save me, save me. Hearing this, he became very surprised. He ate the food, and after eating the food, he said to his wife, I'm going to sleep. I have to wake up for tahajjud. When it was midnight, he started feeling sick. He began to tell his wife, my stomach is hurting a lot. It feels like someone is stabbing my stomach with a knife. The woman said, I think you must have eaten something bad. The all-fearing young man said, my time has come near. Do this, bring Mana Sahib. Then her husband died in front of her in pain. The poor woman did not feel any mercy for him. The servant of Allah recited the Kalima Shahadat as he died, and his soul departed. The parrot was screaming, save me, save me. The woman said to the parrot, be quiet or I will kill you too. She sent a message to her maid to come quickly. Her maid came, and together they dug a hole in the garden of the house. They buried him there. She was feeling very happy inside, thinking, I have saved my life from this man. Now I am free. After that, the prostitute woman went back to her old place and started committing adultery there again. The Almighty Allah had given her a life. If she wanted, she could have repented from her sins. She could have become a righteous and modest woman like her husband. If she wanted, she could have led her remaining life properly. But she destroyed her world with her own hands. She poisoned and killed her husband. She was a prostitute before, but now she had also become a murderer. When dawn broke, Maulana Sai offered his prayers and saw that his student had not come to pray for many days. He became very upset and came to his house and knocked on the door. But Noon opened the door. Maulana Sai thought I must be sleeping. But he also thought, my student can never miss prayer. When it was time for Zahir prayer, Maulana Sahib saw that his student had still not come to pray. He sent someone, but he also said he is not opening the door. This continued until evening. After Isa, Maulana Sahib thought that he should go himself. Maulana Sahib went and knocked on the door, but no one came. But from inside, the parrot started to scream, save me, save me. Maulana Sahib understood that something had happened. He gathered the whole neighborhood and broke down the door, and when he broke the door, he entered inside. He saw that the house was empty, except for the parrot. There was no one else in the house, and everyone thought that the husband and wife had gone out somewhere. The time for tahajjud at night came. Maulana Sahib started feeling uneasy. He told his wife, I feel like my student is in trouble. He has fallen into some kind of problem. His wife said, no, he has just gotten married. Perhaps the husband and wife have gone out somewhere. Mana said, he cannot go without informing me. His wife said, don't be sad, and go to sleep. Mana went to his bed and fell asleep. But Maulana Sai saw in his dream that his student was crying and there was blood on his body. Maulana Sai woke up and told the dream story to his wife. She said, you are thinking too much, that is why you are seeing such dreams. Then on the second night, Maulana saw the same dream again, and on the third night as well, he saw the same dream that his student was soaked in blood, wearing the same clothes, crying. Maulana Sahib woke up, performed ablution, and started praying when Maulana Sahib was reciting verses from the Quran. Gradually, the hidden secrets started to unfold, and he was instructed to go inside the house. Now Maulana became very worried, thinking, why am I receiving signs about his house? Maulana, along with some people from the area, went to the house of that Allah-fearing young man, and seeing them, the parrot again started screaming. When they dug up the ground, they were in agony. From the sight, he could never have imagined that he would see his beloved student in this condition. Maulana started to think, who is this oppressor who has killed him and buried him like this? But look at them, manifestation of Allah Ta'ala. His body was such as if he had just been buried. Light was shining from his face. Seeing him, Maulana Sahib sat on the ground, holding his head, and started crying. Maulana Sahib said his wife is not there. He first offered the funeral prayer for his student and made arrangements for his burial. Everyone was worried who'd killed this young man. Maulana Sahib came home and started crying, remembering his student. The parrot present there was silently listening to the painful voice of Maulana Sahib. It seemed the parrot would never be able to speak again in his life. But Allah Ta'ala gave the parrot the ability to speak. It said that woman was a prostitute. She was an oppressor. She wanted to commit adultery with him. That woman changed her appearance and came. Here she deceived everyone here. She married a servant of Allah, and when her heart was full, she poisoned him and killed him. Now she has gone again to the brothel to commit adultery and wickedness. After saying this, the parrot became silent. Maulana Sahib took him and brought him to his house. Then Maulana Sahib, along with a few people, went to that prostitute woman's brothel. Maulana Sahib, going there, shouted in anger as if he would kill the woman. He asked her to come outside. Maulana Sahib did not want to go inside. Hearing the voice of Maulana Sahib, the servant of that prostitute woman came out crying. And that woman said, you are the teacher of that good young man? Maulana Sahib said, yes, I am his teacher and his father too. The maid said, she's received the punishment of her deeds. That night, after she killed her husband and came to the brothel, she was very happy and was preparing to commit wickedness, but suddenly, her body started to change, and as soon as we saw it, her body turned into the shape of a monkey. We have locked her in a room because we are scared to look at her face. So friends, this was today's video. If you like the video, definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you have any thoughts about the video, then please let us know in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Allah Hai.